Hey, doing good. Just living the dream.
Sweet
How about you?
as. I am great. I have root now.
We got Root.
I'm not sure
Woot for Root.
if I should be excited or not, but it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely a lot more coming, so excited for this first milestone to get us some Root in our wallets.
So we usually start off with the news of the week since last episode, and we have two big items. One is the fact that the community now has root, though I should add a disclaimer: there is no exchange, whether decentralized or centralized, or even a send function. So there's not really much that anyone could do with it. But it is like on-chain real transaction that you can view on the Root Explorer. And there was gas payment associated with it, and like a transaction that you can see on the Explorer. So it's in its infancy. It's not a huge deal, but it's something. It's newsworthy. And then on top of that,
I think the cost per transaction, I think, was
around 12 cents. Yes.
Yeah. For 325,000 Root on 1,327 transactions.
Yeah. So
about
if you compare
bucks.
it with some chains out there, it's more expensive. But if you compare it to Ethereum, it is quite a bit cheaper, especially during frog coin season, where the gas on Ethereum has been quite high. I really don't see a world where the fact that some people want to trade frog coins makes the transaction fees on a network increase by 5x. I don't see a world where, if that is the case, we can have any type of mass adoption. So I look forward to a day when frog coin traders can trade without increasing network costs by a preposterous amount.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy how much and how frequent it's been up. I mean, it was like consistently over 250 Gwei for a few days there, I felt like, during at least the middle of the day. So, yeah, it's not great seeing that kind of thing. And definitely will be a warm welcome when we can frequently use, the Root network for these types of things and with a lot lower of a cost.
I have not run a transaction in 18 days.
You're scared of that Gwei?
I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been under 20 in I feel like a minute. I don't even know. At least a few weeks.
Yeah. I haven't really ran transactions legitimately for 24 days. I just ran one transaction 18 days ago that I needed to run. Because it's just it's not tenable. I mean, in the time where NFTs were in a bull run and there was high gas fees, I had to put up with it. Especially when back in the day when gas war minting was a thing before allow-less. But I'm not putting up with it in today's economy. It's just, I'm not doing it.
In this economy? I could never.
I can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, and think about how many people are probably thinking the same, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even use Ethereum because of simply that.
Yeah.
Gas is just
Well, I'm also sometimes hang out with Solana people, and a lot of them are don't understand how it's possible that Ethereum is viewed as a chain that people use.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much more adopted it is than a lot of the others, albeit having terrible network efficiency.
Yeah. Well, it is a conversation to be had, but Ethereum is currently the number one place to launch a frog coin, from what I understand. Despite the fact that people have to pay big fees to trade their fraud coins. It is interesting. I don't really get it, but it is the way the world is right now. Another big news item was the arrival of the Ethereum Buzzy creations. And they look pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time which one I like the most. Maybe the Cyber I really like when it comes up close and
those are very cool.
Camera. Those are cool. I like Cosmic though too a lot.
Mine revealed to be a desert one, which I think are pretty cool too, but maybe not as cool as those other ones.
Yeah, I like how it kind of like unwraps the wings. That was cool.
And like, what's the one that you can see the insides? That's pretty cool too.
Let's see,
Your radiated one, yeah.
And how it kind of like sticks its tongue out.
I have a derpy burb that looks like that.
What?
It's a project that should be added immediately to the Goblin list.
That's too good.
Hannah knows all about derpy burbs, so.
Derpy burbs.
Yeah.
I've shared it to the space too, kind of a run through of each of the different Mithrium Buzzies. And it sounds like we've got another one on the way too, so keep an eye peeled out for that.
And one of the tweets you posted is like a little giveaway for
a fluff.
For a fluff that Aaron is running in or like in celebration of I guess Root being distributed on the Root network. Something like that.
Yeah, just a little giveaway for the commemoration of the big day.
I guess I will hit the retweet button right now.
You know, you might as well shoot your shot, Max.
YOLO.
Just a reminder, if anybody wants to hop on the stage, feel free to come up and chat. This will be an open stage, and
yeah,
anybody's welcome up.
To be honest, I wanted to get someone from the Buzzy team as a guest for our show, but we weren't able to make that happen. I'm not sure if we will in the future or what our situation will be in the future in terms of being able to bring on guests from the Futureverse team, but I actually have one of those one-on-one conversations with Alex that he invited people to do a couple weeks ago. I had mine scheduled for tomorrow, so I'm gonna talk to him to see if we can maybe get some guests or some guests that the community would want on our show in the future. No guarantees, but that's the state of things right now. We're having trouble getting guests from the Futureverse team. First thing, I'm going to see if Alex will help get us guests or allow us to have guests from the team. And there's several other ways that we could pivot if the team doesn't want to have their staff come on our show, which would involve having more community members and potentially other projects, and I don't know. We'll try to figure out a way to make it work. But we're working our hardest to get good guests on the show to provide relevant information and relevant conversations. It's been a little difficult lately, but we are committed to working through that. And in the meantime, we're going to have shows without guests, if to the extent that we can't make it work. So that's where we are on that. So since we are in that, we would like to have people come onto the stage, because otherwise we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. Sam, do we have anything to talk about? Not really, right?
I think we have some stuff to talk about. I know the TNO locker room is coming shortly after our next challenge, I believe. not going to talk about timeframes or anything like that, but that's something to look forward to. And a lot of stuff getting reworked and worked on in the background. Trying to think here.
We pretty much have a lack of information to talk about unless people come onto the stage and ask a question or pose a conversation, in which case we can talk about whatever anybody would like to talk about, whether it's Futureverse related, NFT related, Web3 related, or none of the above.
Max, what do you think the last Buzzy will look like, and or what it'll be called?
It will look like a bee. You know what? I don't have no idea. Sorry. Can we bring on a comedian to answer this question?
I'm not a comedian.
Can we get a top 5 of what the Buzzy might look like?
Yeah, I mean, hey, give it your best guess. I think you can probably figure it out. Maybe.
Well, one thing, it could be like decked out in like royalty type of accessories, like a queen bee type of situation. Or it could be like all gold. Is there just one?
Oh, you're thinking they'll pull multiple, like a swarm of Buzzies out of this one?
No, is it just one token that hasn't revealed?
Oh, yeah, it's just one.
It could be gold.
It's token number 4.
It could be a Snoop Buzzy. Just kidding, that would be ridiculous.
Imagine just Snoop Dogg's face just plastered on the front of the Buzzy.
Well, they did do that to a party bear, so it's not unprecedented.
I mean, it wasn't his face.
It's very similar resemblance.
Oh man. Oh, that's a derpy burb? Man, Hannah, that is an ugly thing. You bought that, Max?
Back in the day.
Max, let's talk about how you have 2,200 NFTs. I mean, how did you get that many?
Back in the day, minting almost any collection was profitable, and maybe not almost anything, but
But you didn't sell them.
Well, I sold thousands of NFTs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then well, let's talk about it like this. Back in the day,
but the derpy burb didn't make it. You know what I mean? He didn't.
Right, but if you minted derpy burbs and you sold them all within 24 hours, you made a lot of money. I think the floor went up to 2 or 3x the mint price, and then if you minted a lot, you'd probably get some rare ones that you could have sold for more. And this was a rare one, and I tried to sell it, and no one bought it. So I minted it was a top 20 rare derpy burb. It was one of the rarest things I minted, but the project didn't work out. So, and it failed pretty quickly. So,
a classic.
But yeah, I was there back in the time when minting pretty much anything was profitable, and let's say 60% of the projects were profitable, because the most you can lose is however much you put in, and the most you could make on some of these was 1,000x or 500x. For example, if you minted a rare cool cat and that cost 0.02, and a rare cool cat I think one sold for 500 Ethereum or something crazy like that, which is 50,000x or 25,000x, something crazy. So if you just get a few hits and mostly you're selling things at a profit, it was just very profitable. And then I invested most of it back into rabbits that are down pretty bad, but it's okay. You live and you learn.
What do you think about the goblin strategy and how we can maybe get people minting goblins and kind of, I don't know, maybe the future of what you think goblins might be?
Well,
or
I think, in all fairness, and this might sound pretty critical, but I'm just keep it objective here. What has happened in the past with Futureverse is they have like a specific like a NFT or like group of NFTs that is like a specific line. So like one example would be goblins, and another example would be fuzzies, and another example would be party bears, right? And it seems like before they mint something, and then for a bit after that, there is continuous action, and then it just abruptly stops. So like we've seen that with every collection to date, including goblins, where at this point, there was a lot happening, right? And then it stopped, and then it resumed, and it was like, okay, now we're gonna mint them, and we're gonna mint amulets, and then we're gonna make goblins, and then at some point, it's like a lack of follow through. And based on my experience with other Futureverse assets, such as burrows and eggs, we see weeks and months of like continuous conversation and tweet, like social media posts and sometimes to-do items related to one of these streams, and then it stops and then something else starts. And it's very broken up, and I don't see how with that type of approach you're going to get anyone to want to mint a goblin. Like, what is the point of a goblin right now? There's no point. You can have a 3D file, but like, what does somebody want to do with a 3D file? I mean, we're at the point where we have 3D files for a lot of the assets in Futureverse, which is all good and everything, and it's something that other projects haven't done, but what do you do with a 3D file? Like, you can create animations and stuff, but there's really not a way to monetize that in the current place where we are in this NFT situation. Like, there's no real way to monetize that. The only thing that people can really monetize IP-wise is the collections that sell for a lot of money and have a large following, which are not, that doesn't include the ones in the Futureverse stack right now. And so the only way that goblins will be something that people want is if there's something to do with them that people want to do. And having a 3D file and having cool technology that creates unique goblins, it is good technology, and it is showing that the team is capable of building systems that other teams can't do, but it isn't creating any type of demand for that product. And you can advertise it all you want. There's still nothing there that would make people want them. So what you need to have is an experience that people can participate in, or like some type of game that people care about, and that might be years away, or at least a long time away. And maybe like the way to bridge that is allow people to earn some type of token, which that would interest a bunch of people, but I don't know how effective that would be unless the token is worth a lot of money, in which case people would probably just be trying to use it to make money as opposed to have fun or get any type of provide any type of value or create any type of wider value. So I don't really understand goblins in the current way they're being presented.
Gotcha. Well, they'll be cool. They'll definitely have their place in the Third Kingdom, and how it all plays out in the experiences and whatnot.
I guess I'm rather critical of the concept of delivering something without a set of steps that will keep people engaged in it. So like, if you're gonna release something years before it's ready to go, or a lot of months before it's ready to go, I feel like there needs to be a plan to keep people engaged and interested along the way, and the Futureverse team really has failed to deliver that type of experience today.
What would you like to see changed? What would keep people engaged, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, the easiest way to approach it is to not release things until they're much closer to go, so that you don't have to have strategies on how to keep people engaged, because you actually would have a product that can keep people engaged. But other ways you can do it is by having a series of videos about it that are released periodically, or at least written content, or some type of content that is continuously released that does something, you know, like when you release an egg, and yes, it was free, but you have like some lore that you release over the first week or two about each of the 5 types of eggs, and you release a limited amount of information on what the stats do, and then you briefly give hints about what eggs might do in the future, and then everything stops for 10 months. I mean, that's just not a way to keep people engaged and care about, you know, what each specific egg is, or eggs in general. So, yeah. I'm afraid the same thing will happen to goblins, because I think it's happened to everything in our ecosystem before, and it seems like the strategy must be, you know, let's build wide first and then build deep. But I think they've built wider than the amount of resources and staff they have can keep the community continuously engaged. That's just the hard truth that I'm seeing from my perspective. I mean, it's an opinion. It's not, you know, fact, but that's my answer to the question. Can we have other people come on stage? I don't want to talk this whole time.
Maybe you gotta offer somebody a thingy yard or something.
I cannot afford to mint the thingy art. The gas is too high. We have Meta joining us though, so that's good. Should we give Pope's outs on him? Would that be helpful? But probably not, because then people are gonna want something from a Poap.
Nah, dude, Poaps can be nothing burgers. It's okay. They don't have to do something.
Well, we just would like people to contribute to the show for no prize whatsoever.
I agree.
What's going on, Meta? Do you have any comments on my last statement, or in general?
Yeah, I'm pretty much just jumped up here to hang out with you guys, you know, because that's how
great.
That's how this works, right? You know,
Yes.
We
don't have to talk about anything. We could just hang out.
That's what we're doing. I see a lot of other community spaces like where they just ramble rubbish for hours and hours and hours, but have a good time, have a laugh. Most of the time it sounds like they're drunk. But the more we do this and interact, you know, the more fun it is to hang out in the room. We do love hearing your voice, Max, but you do need a bit of help from time to time. Comments.
Yeah.
Regarding what your statement, yeah, look, I've always been about the interaction. It doesn't have to be huge interaction for me either. You know, if I own a burrow, I just want a reason to log in, go down. How much mycelium can I harvest in there? What is that worth in root? Like, just make me use the burrow. You know.
When's the last time that you opened the burrow app?
Well, I just picked up a high roller, so I've recently opened it up.
But for somebody that, you know, hasn't increased or changed their number of burrows, there really is no... I doubt there's very many people whatsoever that are going in the app still, because there's no additional thing to do. There hasn't been for many months. And I understand that they've probably changed their strategy in terms of it was built by Beyond, and they seem to have some type of breakup with Beyond and are likely doing it in-house now.
Yeah, there's something went on there. We don't know what it is, but we know that they're certainly taking the IP over for it. But I mean, just back to your point about doing something with them, I don't even need to do a lot. As I said, with the thingies, I'm not interacting with my thingy because I don't have the moon rocks. If I had some way to send my thingy out, if it just meant logging on every day to click a button to make my thingy go to work, therefore he would then earn moon rocks, and with those moon rocks I would create art. It's like that cycle of use case. So the reward for logging on and sending my thingy out to do some work means he then has moon rocks, he can make art, and I can keep that process of enjoying the art going. Like there's a lot that can happen there in this sort of circular sort of engagement level, which I'd love to see, and that's hopefully going to continue with the buzzies. We just need little chores for them to be doing so that we interact with them and stay active.
The wishful thinker in me is hoping that the reason why drops have hopefully been going slower than they were in the past is because the team is maybe learning that lesson and not releasing things until they have like a full pipeline of something to show for them. But
it comes back to the third kingdom. I mean, we're merging all of this all at once, so it's, turbulent within the company to do all of that, right? It's requires a lot of work to streamline it all, bring everybody on the same page, put it into a singular process, and get all that sorted out. And then after that, it's about streamlining everything into the third kingdom and all these different experiences that we can build out, and then provide the tools out to people to build experiences on top of that people can also enjoy and experience. But we'll also have obviously like flagship products that we roll out within the third kingdom and our launches and everything. So yeah,
it really is a monumental amount of work that the team has set out to do. So I don't think it's particularly surprising that certain items get left behind and forgotten about, but it's also not surprising that has caused negative sentiment around those items not having a use case, or having had some type of use case but no follow-up regarding when there might be further development, if there is further development going on, or what to expect in regards to each specific asset. If you're in every asset, then you see updates usually at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week. Definitely more than any other NFT project, but because there's 25 plus collections, some of those collections have gone pretty much a year with nothing, which is unfortunate. I don't know if it's really, it might be somewhat necessary, just because when some of these items were launched, there were just so many changes made to the organization of Futureverse, the plans of Futureverse. Maybe the situation with various partnerships, contractors, employees, that make it difficult to see a particular plan out, or make a decision, or have led to a decision to change plans. But I do think the way that things have not gone for certain products makes people hesitant to trust any particular product would have the follow-up that would lead to continuous engagement.
And I think you're 100% right. We won't be seeing any new products coming out for some time, which is absolutely a good thing. During the bull market, you could release any NFT, as you said before, and it was going to do really, really well. It was going to sell out. And obviously, everyone who's in the ecosystem now has got a little bit of fatigue. So it really is just about creating interest back around everything that's been delivered so far. As we said before, like the burrows, like the ray guns. You know, I came into the space without minting any of the Genesis stuff. So I've had to buy everything on the secondary market and just had to try and pace myself as I collect, as I want broad exposure. So, I mean, I've only recently picked up my first ray gun from Winter Workshop. I just love some more information from them, maybe how that partnership's evolving, and like, you know, a little bit more lore, a little bit more story would be great too.
Yeah, like everyone was excited about the partnership with Weta, which from everything that I've heard is still on. But the fact that there's been, it's probably been close to a year since the ray guns were released. And in the first couple of months, there was, you know, some news or like interviews or any type of conversation about it. But over the past 7-8 months, I'm gonna guess that it's just nothing. Well, there was one thing. There was something about a leak in regards to there being like an Atom car that was like in the same line of work in collaboration with Weta. But yeah, I just don't think that one leak over the course of 8 months is really the right way to go about having an NFT, you know? And it's something that, like, if a company was just having, you know, one NFT collection or 2 NFT collections, and they had as little activity as, you know, the ray guns, it would be called a rug and the floor would be 0 and there would be no sales. But Futureverse can get away with it somewhat because in general, the Futureverse is doing a lot of things, but they're not doing a lot of things, at least it doesn't appear that they're doing a lot of things for every single NFT that they brought to market, which I think is a core weakness. And, you know, maybe it'll turn out to be good because the case behind building broad does make sense in terms of you do need it is beneficial to have a complex story to tell and a complex set of characters and tools to have a world that is engaging. We see like the most popular IP such as Marvel's universe and Star Wars and Harry Potter and World of Warcraft and a million other things that have like incredible amounts of complexity that can develop fans that care a lot about it or fans that don't need to know everything about it but can still have fun interacting with it regularly. And it is much more difficult to build something without complexity that can gain popularity. So I don't necessarily disagree with the concept of building wide. It's just to be able to do that in a way that keeps people engaged with each collection seems to have not been viable with the amount of resources that the Futureverse have available to them. So
yeah, just on that, I mean, we saw interaction from is it Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, with a few of our crew, with Jerry and NFT Bro, and following the Futureverse. I think that's very interesting as well. Hold on, I'm in the dog park and we've got a new visitor coming to join us, and new kid's going on a lead, so don't worry about that. So yeah, with Tim Sweeney's and interest in the Futureverse, obviously with Epic building these, creating these tools to build these incredible games, I guess, like the tools to build the games, they just need the network to build it on. So potentially if we had availability to all of that Epic UE equipment to build these worlds, and just we are creating the platform for others to build the worlds on, like that'd be an amazing partnership right there. I'd love to see Epic Games get involved in this. So we did see a Buzzy in there at one stage. Did you see any of the interaction regarding Tim Sweeney in this week, Max?
no, I tend to be quite dismissive of speculative things like follows and likes on Twitter. You know, I would need to see like an interview of him talking about it or something more tangible to really care. You know?
There was an interesting interview with the CEO of Lego, Niles, talking to Julia Chatterley, excuse me, where she's asking him about how he's getting into the metaverse. And he said, we need Lego in the metaverse, and that's why we're partnering with Epic, because Epic is the leader in the metaverse. And I'm like, hold on, Epic doesn't have any exposure to the metaverse beyond creating a metaverse, but no NFTs, no payment rails, none of the infrastructure required to be really called, an open metaverse. So there's a lot of IP floating around out there. I do like a bit of speculation, Max, you know that. So hopefully something more comes of that, because I know we'd all like a bazooka about now.
Well, I think what I would want is not a bazooka, but rather get to the point where the technology of the root network is operating at a point where somebody building out an experience would be able to consider the root network as a viable option. Right now we're not there. And then the next step after that is to have the type of awareness required for people to have heard of the root network, a lot of people to have heard of it, and for builders considering what chains to build out an experience on, or like what tools to use when building out an experience, to really consider Futureverse or consider the root network, which is, I don't know how far it is away from that. First you need to show me that we have a product that can work, and there is promise, like, for sure. Like, what is laid out in the white paper is better than, in principle, than any current option for building a metaverse experience. It was pretty cool, the token gating associated with if you minted a boxer, or because that was on Ethereum, so it could look in Ethereum wallets and determine if that minted a boxer, and not only that, but like have that Ethereum wallet connected to a future pass that then you can click on into that future pass, sign up, make a signature to say that you own the rights to that Ethereum wallet, and you set that Ethereum wallet up with a future pass. And then if they add, and they've talked about that they're going to, or that it's almost completed, if you add a functionality to be able to link a number of wallets across a number of blockchains to the same future pass, I mean, that's pretty... You can see how that would be very helpful in setting up a Web3 experience.
I didn't even have to connect my MetaMask to look at my Future Pass wallet. That is incredible for me. I logged onto the site and it knew everything it needed to know about me already. One thing that was surprising is there is already a Future Pass out there. So when we're logging onto the Future Pass site, we've got to go Futureverse app. So I think it could be confusing for a few people, there already being a Future Pass, especially in a industry where you do not want to click the wrong links. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But it's just such a seamless experience at the moment, using that Future Pass. Another one of my questions was, when we do eventually bridge over, I saw someone mention we don't have to bridge all our assets. By only bridging one of our assets, all of them will receive the reward for completing that challenge. Do you know anything about that?
I do, but I probably shouldn't talk much about it. But I guess I'll just say that there's a lot of different kind of technological advancements and things that haven't necessarily been done before, and that we're kind of innovating on that front. So yeah, I would say that is true what you said, Momenta.
So by if I've got 20 assets in my wallet, I bridge only one. All of the assets in my wallet will receive rewards for completing the challenge. That's awesome. If that is what I just said. Som,
I'm not sure if that's. Go ahead.
How hard is it to sit up here on this stage knowing the answers to most of these questions? And, just having to sit there and just let us ramble on, go in circles, but you know the answers and you can't even say anything. So, I mean, full credit to you, brother, for coming in every week, because it must be a really tricky line to walk, mate.
Yeah, I usually just stay on mute if it's in uncharted territories or just things I shouldn't talk about, and, just know what you can and cannot say. If you're unsure, then just say nothing. So, yeah, just kind of walking that line, and I think it's a great thing to put these on for the community and just have a touch point and chat with people every week and, share opinions and, just talk. Enjoy each other's company.
Our show has been the most consistent part about Futureverse. We're on every week at the same time, whereas the Futureverse have trouble having consistency in any type of regard.
That's where I think things are about to change, Max. That's why I think
I hope so.
Everybody's really optimistic about merging all these companies into Futureverse, streamlining processes, getting everybody on the same page in that manner, and just running it like a well-oiled machine and building cool new experiences for people and stripping back the complexities and delivering minimum viable products and having an iterative process from there. And yeah, just delivering on expectations that have been set, and I think we're definitely gonna see improvements across the board.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the team that Futureverse has assembled, I think it really is extremely competitive, can be argued to be the best in the NFT space, or at least in the top tier. And it's just the amount of output and work that the Futureverse team is committed to do completely dwarfs any other NFT project by an order of great magnitude, which makes it quite difficult to deliver on. When you're delivering, or when you set out to deliver dozens of different streams of products and services and experiences, I imagine that makes it quite difficult to handle. No matter if you're set up in a series of 12 companies or one company. So yeah, I definitely believe that the Futureverse team is aware of some of their shortcomings, or many of their shortcomings, and working on it. But until we've seen it, we have to report it. Me as trying to keep objective in the role I set out for myself as hosting this show with you, is keeping it objective based on known information by the community, which includes me as someone that doesn't get any inside information, doesn't work with the team. So I'm just reporting on things as we see them. And, I definitely hope, and a lot of people hope, that at some point there is a clear change in the way that products are delivered and communicated, and that we can continue to be excited about all of the different 25 plus NFTs collections in the Futureverse stack, and I hope it all works great. Just sharing my observations.
There's a system in place, and it'll be awesome watching it come into fruition. And I think us also putting tools into people's hands to build alongside us will be really impactful and create a more enjoyable experience, because it'll give people things to do as well, aside from just playing our experiences and games. They can build their own and get involved in that way on a pretty deep level. So
I hope
that's
so.
pretty impactful.
As of now, when the Futureverse talks about, and then they dropped a very impactful line on the trailer that was released last year, which is, "We're not building the future, you are." But right now it's just like a buzzword because there is really nothing that community members or other third parties really can do with much of the tools unless it's talking about 3D assets, which I don't think is impactful currently. So right now it's just something that sounds good. I'm looking forward to the day where it's something that, like, the reality of it is tangible.
It looks good.
And in a lot of ways,
good, Max. Gotta look good.
in a lot of ways, guys, you guys have been building the Futureverse from the beginning with this show. I mean, this is one of the most important tools the Futureverse has right here now, like keeping all the community together. So in regards to building that side of the ecosystem, the most important, the community, I'd say you guys are doing that. I'd say you'd already be building the Futureverse.
We appreciate that, Momenta. And there's plenty of things we can do in the interim, like this, and just supporting each other, building things across, whatever we're talented in, and just kind of growing together. I think is a positive thing that people can be focused on, rather than just like price or anything else. Just kind of make friends, have a good time, improve your environment, and surround yourself with people you enjoy being around. I think that's always a good thing, just as like a life thing. But yeah, I think this has been a really impactful thing to have and just kind of touch base with the community on a weekly basis.
Before I continue, a quick word from our sponsors that make the show possible.
Introducing Fraz Cola, the world's premier beer-flavored beverage.
It's Fraz, delicious, highly nutritious with a top-secret recipe that's so delicious.
Nothing beats the buzz of a cool Fraz Cola. What are you waiting for?
We're getting Fraz to the NAS!
Consume at your own risk. Symptoms may include and death.
We appreciate everyone's support and keeping
I
this
pinned to the
show.
top here. This is a good question for you guys. Are you Dune Crew, Lambo Crew, or Igloo Crew? Or another crew? Fluff has got it pinned to the top there. Share your scenes, whichever one's your favorite. Or if you're in any sort of Futureverse, clan, guild, faction.
I feel like this is kind of bringing me back to the conversation we've been having, which is I was originally in Dune Crew and still don't want to associate myself with Dune Crew. But while there used to be a lot of conversation between, Dune Crew and Lambo Crew being like a real thing, that conversation died when it became clear that there was really nothing involved that was anywhere near close to delivery that would really create some type of experience that would make it different for Dune Crew versus Lambo Crew. Back in the
But
day,
it's about banding together meaningful communities.
back in the day, Dune Crew was able to accomplish some things like get an airdrop of an Angel Baby item just for Dune Crew, and that made it feel very alive and active. But I think it's a lot to ask the community to create something like that without any ability to build something deep for...
I'll do it right now, Max. The music studio crew. That's what my backdrops are on my fluff, my party beer. I mean, I'm in it for the party, right? So any budding DJs out there, anyone who's interested in the entertainment side of the metaverse, we should have a music studio crew. And that's my backdrop. And all my guys have black puffers, so maybe there's a black puffer crew in there as well.
That's what I'm talking about, Momenta. I've got myself a studio as well, so we might just have to join you.
Yeah, man, we can work as a team. Get those AI brains in there, start producing music, and we'll have to give our studio team a name. We'll have to come up with that. I don't think Snoop Dogg's studio team. I don't think we want to give Snoop any more credit than or pack his bags any deeper than they already are. But I'm sure we can come up with something cool for our party people in the studios.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never made any music before, but I think ASM might just help us out in the AI department to be not so bad at that. So, be interested to see what the tools around that.
Did anybody see Dip Collector's? Shout out to Dip Collector. I've been doing some great work recently. David Attenborough law reading of the Buzzies. Do you want to see that?
No, is it a tweet?
Yeah, it's a tweet. I'll go grab it. I'll put it to the top. But it's just a really great example of how marketing, social media interaction, it's all changing. You know, anybody can do it. You just have to take the information that someone's given you, grab a voice that sounds, pleasing, and put some graphics behind it, and you can put out great quality content. So I'll go find that and I'll pin that to the top now.
There are like a number of constructs in the Futureverse to like set up teams and like networks, such as the ASM has a bunch of crews like the Bomba crew and the Plunger Gang and Game Boy Gamers, and then there was teams set up for Atom, and then there was the whole Dune crew versus Lambo crew thing, but we've seen none of them continuously be engaged, or if there have been any continuous engagement, it's been quite fleeting, because it's not enough to just have a team and you set it up and then expect the community to like do everything. There needs to be something for the team to do continuously, and we have not seen that over long periods of time. We've seen it happen for short spurts, but it hasn't been continuous, which has led to almost every one of those teams and setups becoming inactive, which is hopefully something that can be reversed. But I know, like, one example, I set up a whole Atom team. I created a Twitter, and we were excited, but there is nothing for us to do. So I think probably some of the members are no longer active at all in Atom, and I'm sure things like that have gone on across Atom, across the ASM teams, across the Dune crew versus Lambo conversation, and anything else you might set up, because it's not enough to set up an opportunity for the community to come together, then not have any tasks for them to do together that have extended meeting. So I really hope that changes at some point, but I think that's where we are. Let's welcome a new speaker to the stage, Music NFTs. Welcome to the stage.
To chime in a little bit, I'll be devil's advocate. Like, a lot of the conversation that you gave right now is about community. That's the only thing that I've heard is community. And communities are dictated by how much a floor price for a particular NFT is, how many people are in there, how many people tweet, how much money you made on something. I think that FLUF World, they have, well, Futureverse as a whole, they understand that all the other ways that people get into NFTs and crypto, like, those behaviors are already known. And right now, what they are doing is something that's totally unique to the space, as to where it is truly community. Even though right now we don't have the tools to build what Buzzies are going to be capable of with the help of the thingies into FLUF World lands, even though those things are not out right now today, before any of that stuff is out, everybody that's on this call right now are literally the OGs of the people that are interested in building it and taking it to the next level. In a bull market, everybody's your friend. Everybody is, oh yeah, man, oh yeah, bro, yeah, let's pump it up, yeah. Pay things. Like, people that wouldn't have never talked to each other, people liking, sharing, retweeting. But as soon as the price drops, oh man, you never hear from them again. In this project, we have been here since the beginning. I've been there since day one. And I've continued to be here. I'm actually building a business around FLUF. That's how much I believe in it. And I'm going to forever be here until the wheels fall off. But right now, in a bear market, you find out who your true people is. And for you to truly build something that's strong and lasting, that will last not just a bull cycle, but for generations to come. Right now is when you find out who those true people are. Because those are the people that stuck there. They understand what the tech is, what it is, these patents that Futureverse has, what it is, all these different companies that will all end up working together, what that will be in the future. These corporations that don't have clarity on crypto and whatnot, in the future, 2-3 years from now, when they look and see what company from the beginning did it right with community, instead of paying for influencers and shilling and all this other stuff, Futureverse is the only people that have that title. So, you know, we not taking our gains right now. If somebody want to flip a FLUF or a thingy, whatever. I'm taking this opportunity to buy stuff for cheap, personally, because I know not even 2 to 3 years, 5 to 10 years, 20 years, when my kid is an adult in her 50s, what am I buying and what am I investing my time in to ensure that she's going to have a better life? I think, you know, with you being here to show that you prove that you're OG and you care about the space. So continue to do that. Please don't get distracted or anything, because you're needed as a place for people like me and Mometa and everybody else that's here today to continue to vibe off of each other, because we're going to be the ones that's helping onboard these new people that's coming into the game. We're going to be the new people that's onboarding these companies in the Futureverse. So sorry for going over. Yeah, I just had to say. So.
Well, it was well said, and I appreciate you coming up and sharing those words. Let's hear from OX Metapanda.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry I couldn't hear you before when I came up on stage. I guess Twitter rugged. Wasn't sure if you were calling me. I've been following FLUF. You know, I think the first time I spoke with Alex was maybe like March 2022. I think it's been really awesome what you guys have built. I was just curious, so when you said that the 3D assets haven't really had much impact, I'm not sure how many assets are in the overall Futureverse, but, you know, why do you think that hasn't had an impact? Because, like, you know, I do see us in this up-only content bull run, and, you know, obviously that's, like, converging with the pseudonymous creator economy. So, you know, would you say that most of the people in Futureverse aren't creators and builders, and that's why they're just waiting on the founders to deliver? Or, you know, because when I look at the opportunity, I think, you know, you have an opportunity to work for your bags, right? Like, there could be someone with a potato PFP that's worth nothing. That's the most prominent, you know, Twitter Spaces host. And then there could be someone with an ape that, you know, doesn't get 5 likes. So I think it really depends on, like, what you're actually willing to put in. You know, if you're waiting around for the founders to deliver, like, I know they've given 3D assets. I think it'd be cool if, I'm not sure if they gave the burrow assets, but, you know, you could take those burrows that, you know, Beyond left, and, like, bring it into Hyperfy, which is like a browser-based metaverse. You could bring it into, you know, like, for example, On Cyber, or, you know, Unreal Engine Fortnite editor. Like, there's a lot of assets, I think, that you guys have at your disposal, and it's just a matter of, like, getting it in the hands of the right people, because I do think you have a tremendous amount to work with.
Yeah, so there are roughly 90,000, maybe around 90,000 NFTs in the Futureverse ecosystem that come with 3D files right now. So there is an unlimited amount, well, a nearly unlimited amount of 3D files that people can have, but the use case, or like the argument for why having a 3D file for an NFT in today's market is a little bit harder to picture than it was back when NFTs were more popular. The biggest example that we've seen of somebody using a 3D asset to build a whole business around is Angel Baby with the Hume Collective, where they have a FLUF that they create all this content and music for, and trying to make a viable like meta artist. And that's cool and everything, but one really big benefit that we saw early or like in the middle of the bull run for NFTs is there was a large community around specific NFTs that if you built something using that IP, you got access to this network of wealthy individuals that had money to spend and time to spend on supporting your project that they would want to support because it had the IP that they had. So it was like this huge circle of fans and benefit that goes in both directions, and it was relatively easy to see it at work in certain situations, and it's not something that can't work. But without the huge number of fans, and especially fans that have money to spend, like disposable funds that they could just throw around, it has not worked as well as it once did, that model. And I'm not saying it won't work again, and I'm not saying that there can't be ways that people can figure out how to make it work. But if someone wants to produce content with their 3D assets, that's a great thing to do. But I don't think anybody is under the illusion that that would lead to any increase in value of their assets. I mean, there have been scenarios where, back in the heat of the bull, where people that made a name for themselves around a specific NFT got offered a lot for that specific NFT. But I just think those days are, for the most part, not here right now. Not saying that somebody can't overcome that, but it's not like the base case is not. It is not like, let's say you can produce a lot of cool video content. The community that is paying attention will enjoy it, but it is very hard to go much farther than that. I don't know. Let's hear from Mo Meta.
Just while we've got music NFTs up on stage, you mentioned that you had a project you were working on that aligned with the Futureverse. Are you comfortable telling us about that and how that's relying on the rollout? Is that anything you're comfortable talking about?
What I'm doing, I understand that Root Network, pretty much goal is to merge blockchains and allow use cases of other blockchains throughout the Futureverse, throughout the Future Wallet, throughout the Silo Wallet, which will merge things. I myself, I'm involved with another blockchain project, which is called Handshake. It allows you to own root domains. Now, it may turn into something great, it may not, but I do like what's happening on the Handshake blockchain. And my end-all goal is to merge those two together and have people be able to own their own domains instead of renting it from like .com.io and things like that. Me personally, through the Handshake blockchain, I purchased .music NFTs. I have several, but I love music. I feel that music NFTs are the entryway for regular people. to get into NFTs that probably wouldn't be interested otherwise. So that's why I decided to go that route. And like my project will be a community built project. I haven't launched that side yet because I'm waiting for a couple other things to come out before I go like really fully fledged. But for the beginning, I am telling my story through comic form. That's going to be my contribution to the entire project. That's personal. That's to where it's discussing, people I've met in real life, projects that I'm involved with, and it's going to tell a story of, the merging of Web3, crypto, all of the lies that we've been told, all of the nuances that exist. Like, I'm telling that story originally in manga form. Hopefully later on get it made into anime. So, pretty big aspirations. But yeah, thanks, MetaVerse.
Yeah, I was just curious. So we're looking at a marketing strategy around a comic book form that will lead people in the direction of the domains. I've never heard the domains side be mentioned with the Futureverse so far. So that's really interesting because obviously it's a hot topic. One other thing though, brother. Do you have a studio background?
Negative. I just have a background in tech.
No. What I meant was like the scenes and sounds. Do you have a Snoop Dogg studio background?
Oh yeah. I have a Snoop Dogg studio. I have the studio background from the Party Bear. Yeah, I do.
Do you want to join my background crew? I don't have a name for it yet, but we're kind of building it on the fly.
Hey, let's get 5 members and we wrote on the name. Let's go. I'm down.
Awesome, thanks, brother.
Let's do it.
Love to hear it. What you got, Max?
Oh, I have nothing. I was going to ask what you have. OX Panda has something.
Yeah, it's just MetaPanda. So I know that she'll.
You broke up there.
Yeah, I got a call. Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Okay, try again.
Yeah, so I know that Snoop Dogg's platform's coming out probably next month, Schiller. Not sure if you guys have spoken about it, but it's essentially OBS streaming plus Twitter Spaces, and I was curious if you guys were excited about that, or if you had any plans for integrating your fluffs or your party bears or anything to develop more of a Web3 presence or persona, because I think there'll be some new eyes on that.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, so it's basically Snoop Dogg, one of the founding members of Musical.ly, which became ByteDance and TikTok, another person from Wish, and they're introducing a lot of cool mechanics, and I figured the Snoop Dogg connection might be something that you guys had some alpha on.
I haven't personally heard of this, so I don't really have any comments.
Is there any Twitter? Is there any tweets about it that we might get pinned?
I'll jump in if you can still hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. So Imagine Space is what we're on right now, but having a larger amount of guests being able to get in there. Also being able to use NFTs to token gate the event. So if you've got Snoop Dogg himself in the room, only if you have the Snoop Dogg NFT tokens can you get in to hear him and speak with him. Plus the ability to actually stream visual content during the spaces. Imagine that. Like right now we sit back and say, hold on, the trailer's just come out for something. Let's get it up and get it going. So I think Schiller has a huge amount of possibility to miss a lot of the, correct the missteps that have happened at the moment, because we know spaces love it, but sometimes it sucks.
It's not our Von Schiller. How do they spell it? SHILLER?
Yeah, I could pin something if you want.
One of the things that concerns me with how it was just described is token gating something would be something cool and something beneficial if there was a lot of people interested in a particular thing, but it would have to be outside of the main well, I don't want to call it the main, but the NFT community, like the NFT Twitter community, that is probably at an all-time low in terms of number of people involved and the number of people active. So like token gating was something that was cool when there was like a lot of demand, but token gating is less cool when it's hard to get anybody to want to participate in anything related to NFTs. That's one thing that I was thinking. And then another thing is there are other platforms that we could use if we wanted to have a more interactive experience, I guess. The specific one about being able to show presentations on Spaces, I guess potentially would be cool. And there isn't another service that I'm thinking about that would be viable that could do that. I mean, I could stream on Twitch, but then it's not really viable to have anyone come up at any time. You could have guests come up on Twitch, but it's not the right type of vibe. And just like the fact that the reason why Twitter Space is effective is because it's simple. It's just very easy to join and very easy to speak. And another benefit of it is this is where people are. So to be able to create a user base around a type of product that requires users for it to mean anything, it's just been really a challenge for all types of projects lately associated with Web3. So I hope it works out and I hope it's cool. But
yeah, it's not exclusively token gated, but I definitely understand what you're saying with like sentiment being at an all-time low. I know that like Kick, for example, which is like a Twitch competitor, if you hit like 100 CCU, you get on the front page, and there's some discoverability there, especially when, you know, like Aiden Ross is streaming. You know, you could probably get like 5,000 spillover if you're on that front page. But yeah, I think just in general, like, you know, branching out into like these decentralized social platforms is like probably like the best bet, you know, because most people aren't on NFT CT as like they used to be. But then if you go to some of these decentralized platforms that are up and coming, like, you know, they're not bots, right? So like you can have like a more genuine connection with them. And, you know, obviously like a lot of people are just waiting for the bull market to come back. But I think this is probably the best time, you know, to like just double down because, you know, we're clearly in it for the tech.
yeah, to the extent that we can, or that anybody is creating infrastructure that can make the Web3 future viable, that's great. We're big fans of that. And I hope that everyone that's building in earnest a product that creates a solution for a current problem, that the NFT or the Web3 infrastructure sucks. Anyone building that is doing a great service to the future of the world and to everyone that cares about the future being decentralized in some way, shape, or form. So I hope everyone that's building such a product or service or a platform can manage to do a good job and doesn't get screwed over by market conditions or other factors that are hard to control.
Also, what do you guys think about like Bitcoin, right? Like obviously inscriptions, ordinals, BRCs, like, you know, has anyone in the community considered teleburning, you know, one of their Futureverse assets?
I have not. I think it's a gimmick. Or that aspect is a gimmick. Like people burning assets from one chain to ordinals or some other type of Bitcoin technology, like it's going the opposite way in terms of utility and being able to scale that utility it is a disservice to the belief in a future where the Web3 world can create solutions for problems. It is creating not a solution for a problem, but creating more problems by moving things to a chain that has no chance of scalability.
I mean, you're familiar with like Lightning and Stack L2.
Yeah,
I think when people speculate on art, like the most important thing is obviously the provenance. So if they're going to look at a chain and say, okay, is it fully decentralized? Is it secured by proof of work? Is it immutably inscribable on block space? Like, there are a lot of, like, I understand the utility aspect of it, whether it's on Ethereum or, the root network, but let's say someone wants to speculate on a gold fluff, right? And they could care less about any of the utility. Do you not see, like, the value in that? And you think it's, like...
No, I don't see the value at all. Like, moving one item from a collection from a chain where it has... Well, listen, most NFTs out there are never going to have utility. But in Futureverse, the whole concept behind all these things is not about the provenance of the art. Like, if people are here for the provenance of fluff art, I don't know what to tell them. The reason why a very large majority of people are here is because it has one of the largest, if not the largest, and one of the most capable, if not the most capable, of teams that are building something with a vision that has the thought and the idea and the wherewithal to scale.
Can I lend a thought?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the ordinals have certainly congested BTC. Doesn't really affect anyone who believes in it as a store of value, but I mean, if you're in El Salvador trying to make transactions, it's not great. And just on Lightning, obviously Lightning's not decentralized. You need to move out of BTC to pre-fund accounts in US currency to then transfer it. So although Lightning appears to be a great scalable solution for the payment rails of BTC, unfortunately it is going against everything that BTC stands for regards to decentralization and removing yourself from the financial economy at that regard. I'm open to all opinions on Lightning though. I've just done some real deep dive research with some other friends, and it seems to be the opposite of what BTC is all about.
Yeah, I hear that. Like, I'm just saying, like, to have your actual assets, obviously on L1, and then, smart contract capabilities on L2. Like, for example, something called Zebedee. It's like a Bitcoin Lightning API app where, there's like iOS, Android games that basically pay people out for the contribution to the game. It's also like, the same for like creator-centric functions, and I do see that being able to bridge the gap and incentivize people that maybe don't see the value in playing, Axie for an SLP token, or, like if you remember Zedrun did incredibly well because it was paid out in Ethereum. So, in terms of bridging the gap, whether it's someone, that just likes gaming or someone in El Salvador or any emerging country, like they could now tap into that and, get paid out in, the hardest money on earth. So like, I think like that's what I'm saying more so than like that I believe in Lightning as like the end all. Like at the end of the day, I believe in immutable money. And like it just helps facilitate that.
And I really enjoy you being in this room, MetaPanda, to expand the conversation beyond our own echo chamber into these other networks, and like we've all just got to keep learning and let everyone have the chance to speak their mind so we can all get educated on this stuff. So no, I certainly don't disagree with you there. At the moment, I'd rather be in Bitcoin or silver than in fiat currency, that's for sure.
I still think ordinals is dumb, especially because like it is like it is so convoluted in the way that the items are stored. I don't know. It's going backwards. It is not creating a solution that brings anyone closer to mass adoption. That's why I don't like it.
So, I mean, I could say, like, I've been in crypto for quite a few cycles, and, I know that new narratives always pump the hardest. Like, if people are just in it for the money, which most are, like, new narratives are always going to be the alpha. And, like, when there's friction, there's alpha. That's always the case. So right now, the markets on BTC and ordinals aren't so efficient. So there's front running, there's back running, there's people, using like inscribing transfer functions to take advantage of others. Not saying I do that, but I'm just saying, like, people buy Bitcoin or they buy Ethereum, but anyone coming in at this point, they're only benefiting from liquidity over time with the old coins. Whereas, like, new tech comes, new narratives come, and people forget about those old coins. Like, the only way that they can pump is if it reaches a new all-time high, and then everyone that's not in profit decides not to sell. And, usually it's not the case. So, like, if you look at Cardano not having smart contracts, or you look at Doge, or, like, even if you guys are familiar with, like, Gigantic Rebirth, GCR, he's like the top forecaster, not only in crypto and in politics, but in, like, all markets. He called the SHIB breakout, he called Miladies, penguins. He shorted Moon of the Ground, put like a $10 million bet in a DAO with Duquan. Like, the guy's literally called everything. I'm in a private Discord with him. My friends are in private telegrams with him. He actually said, this is off record. Technically not because it's recorded, but he said, buy what your dumbest friend is buying in 2023 on this echo bubble. And, especially in crypto, like, irrationality always seems to be the play. And, like,
yeah, well, this particular podcast is not really about, chasing profit opportunities. And I get that currently in 2023, where we're at right now, a lot of the collections that are doing the best in NFTs and in Web3 in general are ones that are geared towards the Web3 crowd, like Miladies, and not ones that are trying to create mass adoption. In fact, everything that is trying to create mass adoption, making a real effort to it, has not succeeded yet. And that may be a large reason why products that are aimed at mass adoption are down bad, is maybe a way to put it. But I don't believe that any strategy to make the Web3 world, which means not from a profit perspective, but from people that care about the tools that Web3 can offer the world to make the world a better place and to make experiences better in one way or another, whether it's through decentralization or owning digital assets or any number of ways that the blockchain can improve life in the future, the way the internet improved life in the past 30 years. In terms of that, the way forward, I don't think is being really encompassed by the current market. And I understand why anyone that is focused on money, which I'm sure is a very large percentage of the people in the world, and maybe the large percentage of people in this room, I don't know, but those people, might focus on one thing or another. But I personally love to focus on the way that society can be improved through the means of the Web3 tooling, which requires mass adoption. Because society can't be improved if 0.5% of it are using tools that kind of work or don't really work. And ordinals is an example of something that is really designed towards Web3 existing people. It is complicated to use. It is very difficult, even for people that use MetaMask every day. It is a big learning curve to be able to do it. And on top of that, it it is convoluted in how it works, to the point where people make a mistake of sending, their GUI that has an ordinal attached to it in a transaction that goes somewhere that they didn't know what was going on. What would lead to the advancement of the world through Web3 are products that are easy for anybody to use and products that are scalable. And ordinals are neither of those, which is why I have an opposition to it. That being said, if somebody saw an opportunity to make a profit by, doing whatever type of transaction in ordinals or any other type of technology or not technology or frog coins or whatever amphibian coin you want to work with, there's plenty of opportunities for people to chase profits that might make the world a better place or might have no effect on the world, might make the world a worse place. But I just don't really think, this show is aimed at being something where people discuss how to make profits together.
So I wasn't trying to get off topic like that. Yeah, I wasn't trying to.
I just got on my soapbox a little much.
No, I definitely feel that.
You should let him finish his point, Max.
I was actually curious if anyone played around with Replicant from DNA Block. I know that's a Futureverse portfolio company. I've been speaking with them. They gave me Steam code, and I think that's a really cool tool. If nobody's been using it, definitely worth checking out.
What types of things can you do currently with it? It's in its very early stages. What can you currently do, and what are they telling people that they can expect from DNA Block in the future?
So, they're basically saying, it's almost like ChatGPT within Unreal Engine, where you would have a character, it would light it, it would animate it, it would plug in some voices, and really it's just for being able to craft content on the spot. Let's say there's a specific meme, that you want to come out with where it's your FLUF beating up Sam Bankman, and you're able to basically execute that, and it's real-time rendering, as opposed to Wonder Studio, which is, if you've seen it, it's like a Steven Spielberg investment, where you take a video and it would basically take the character from that video, it would mimic the motion capture data, and then you would have your own character in there fully lit. You could apply for beta, they closed their beta, but they're opening up another. And I think that's also a really cool thing, to just be able to pump out content and become one with culture. Because over time, people, they'll see the fluffs, they'll see the party bears, they'll be like, yeah, what are these rabbits I keep seeing? They're doing really funny stuff. And I think that's the next evolution of memetics, as opposed to the 2D, memes that people have been coming out with. In crypto, if you're following Shuttle, which is a pudgy thing, or the Sappy Seals, they did Meme Machine. I think Aaron and the team are definitely onto something with Replicant, because that's really what people need. If it requires them to learn something or to, overexert themselves, they're just not going to do it. But if it's frictionless, I think that's an incredible tool that'll really empower the community.
And can you really just create a video with just a word prompt, or?
Yeah, you would basically just prompt it, and then it would take those characters, it would mouth it, with the blend shapes and everything.
Is that something that can be done today, or something that is future oriented?
No, so it's fully live right now. I'm not sure if there's a fluff in there. My Unreal team's been going through it more than I have, but there's also a character creation thing in there where you could create characters on the fly, and you could even crossbreed them. So imagine there's a triangle between 3 different characters. You could mix a fluff and a party bear and a buzzy, for example, So like they're still working that out. They also have like a game or a suite of games that you'll be able to like bring them in, sort of like Street Fighter. So, definitely something to keep an eye on. And I'm not sure if like Futureverse like gave anyone in the Futureverse ecosystem access, but if not, definitely apply through their form.
Yeah, I've got my name down on the list. Have they got voice integration activated yet? Because I'd love to take Max's voice and use that in the.
No, you don't. You want to use your beautiful voice.
I think
I'd have a lot more fun with your voice, Max.
I think they do. And then you could always plug in. You could always do like after. Not that you want to do like post production, but yeah, I think they do have that available. But I didn't like the voices that I heard so far. So you probably have to use like Respeecher or 11 Labs, to like get something closer to what you're looking for.
I did find watching the videos that they've put out already, there's something that's unnatural about them. Obviously, there's a lot of fine-tuning to go in. It's just the beginning. But there was something about, I'm not sure it was the narratives they were using a lot of the time with the polar bears, or lost obviously it's AI, a real personal connection. So it'd be interesting how they can refine it in a way where, I don't know, just it feels more, has more flavor, should we say.
Yeah, I think they'll get there. Like, they have a few different builds that they're going to ship soon, so I'm sure they know.
And of course, the other thing, someone with absolutely no experience at this at all. When I say no experience, if you zoom in on any of those meme tweets I put out with my rabbit, if you zoom in on the hands, you'll see what a Mickey Mouse job I'm doing. I'm doing the whole thing on my phone. It's horrible, but I have fun. And I'd love to know that Replicant has the ability to take someone with my skill level and still be able to make this content.
Yeah, also check out Wonder Studio. Like, I think that's also like really solid because, like, obviously if you're creating a scene from scratch, people might not care if they're not invested, like emotionally, financially, etc. But if you're taking like viral, like video memes, right, or any scene, and you're just plugging in your character, I think that's probably where you'll get the most success and the most exposure on the content.
Thanks for answering those questions.
Awesome. Well, we're at the 90-minute mark, which is traditionally when we look to wrap things up, unless the conversation is absolutely riveting. So does anyone have any final words before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah, I do. Just quickly, I want to know, Som, what are you most excited about in the Futureverse?
Ooh, buddy. I'd have to say the TTK white paper coming out, because I think that'll give people a lot better idea of what's going on and what to expect and that sort of thing. So yeah, I would say that coming to fruition, everybody kind of seeing the V1 and how it evolves. So yeah, that's what I'd be most excited about.
Thanks, mate. Sorry to steal your question.
No worries. That's great. I'll throw it back to you, Meta. What are you most excited about? Everybody on the stage can answer.
Yeah, what am I most excited about? I'm really excited to see, once all the team is completely been refined in the Futureverse, which must be getting close now, how they start bringing out new information, like what sort of formats they use, whether they start doing more shows, more podcasts, more internal marketing strategies at a social level, where we get to see more of the team. I'm more excited to see more from the team coming out in the future, and I think we'll get it soon.
Love it. Metapanda, how about yourself, if you have any?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you guys for having me up. Like, I think you're all awesome. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak, and it's like really awesome to connect with you guys.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for coming up. Music NFTs, anything from you?
Oh no, I think this has been a great 90 minutes of convo, And yeah, like I just look forward to the next episode. So again, great job, guys, what you do. I thank you for it. Keep us all, honest and networked with each other. So yeah, that's all I got, brothers.
Thanks
for being here.
And we'll try to get some better content. And now I'll say what I'm most excited about, which is I'm looking forward to the root network getting closer to a point where it is working as described in the white paper, which will allow people to make a decision if they want to build on top of the root network. I think that's been my answer every time for the past while, and it will continue to be my answer. So thank you, everybody that came to our spaces. We hope that we can have better content for you in the future. And in the meantime, thanks for everyone that jumps on the stage and creates the content yourself. So thank you, everyone that participated. And thank you to everyone that listens. And especially during the time when the market sentiment is at its lowest, we appreciate those who still interact, and we'll try better to have better content in the future. And we'll see you next week.
Much love, Level Bunnies up.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!